Hello and welcome to Haunted Highways. I'm Ryan and I'll be your guide tonight as we explore some of the strange and unusual places in California's Inland Empire. From haunted locations, sites with a lot of UFO activity, or just any place that has any kind of strange or unusual activity, we'll take a look and see what we can find. Now, tonight we are at one of the more famous locations in the Inland Empire, and that is the First the First Christian Church, I always get that wrong, First Christian Church in Rialto. And this site is famous because it is said that on certain nights, there will be up in that upstairs window that you can see right there, the face or the shape of a young girl will appear in the window. Now, the history of this building, the church was built in 1906. It was owned by the congregation, and it was sold in sometime in the 1960s to Dr. Hendrickson, his wife, and his daughter Christina. Now, they lived in the church. They basically lived here as a residence. Unfortunately, their daughter Christina died of leukemia. Now, the family lived here for 3 more years and then eventually moved away. They donated the church to local museum association, and the church later sold it to the city of Rialto, who've made it into a historical site. Now, it is still said, though, that on certain nights you can see that young girl's face again, or not her face, but her whole body staring out of that upstairs window. Supposedly that was, I don't know if that's supposed to be her bedroom, but that's where she's seen. And this has been seen so often that there's actually a book written about this. An author named John Adams wrote a book called The Little Girl in the Window. It's available on Amazon. I'll put a link down in the description for you. And he gives a lot of the history of this church and of the haunting that's supposed to take place here. And it's interesting because he's actually supposedly was an atheist who did not believe in the paranormal. And this the experiences here at this church actually changed his mind. In fact, he just wrote another book. I forget the title offhand. I believe it's The Haunted Vineyard in Rialto, California, that gives some other haunted stories of this area. I'll put a link to that book as well in case you're interested. But anyways, it's hard to say if the haunted activity here still goes on, because some people say that in 2004 the activity ceased, and that was the year that the doctor, her father, passed away. However, there have been paranormal investigators who've gone inside the church, and they claim that the activity still goes on inside there. And it's kind of interesting because the church, there's a museum here, and I was under the impression that according to the sign, you could go in on Saturday afternoons from 10 to 2. So I actually showed up. There was a sign out front that said museum open. I went and knocked on the door, and it was locked. And I kind of looked around for a second, and I realized that the museum is actually next door in an old school building and not in the church itself. So I thought I'd give it a try. I went in there just to see what they had, and there was an older couple, city employees, that were running the place. And I asked about going in the church, and they said, unfortunately, the church is only available for weddings or special events or certain city activities. They don't generally let the public in the church just on an average day. He asked about what I was there to see, and I was a little hesitant to tell him, I didn't want to disrespect the history of the area, but I told him I'd heard the ghost stories, and I was kind of interested in just looking inside the church, getting some pictures. And it's funny, the man kind of smiled, and he went over to a bag, and he pulled out a K2 meter, which for those of you that do ghost hunting know, that is a common ghost hunting tool for detecting EMF, to get EMF readings. Sorry about that. And he also pulled up an app on his phone called GhostTube, which I was not familiar with, and he set them out, and he sat there for a half hour, and we had a conversation. And according to his devices, he said there was actually a spirit, while we were in that museum, a spirit was in the room while him and I were there talking. I cannot confirm or deny, but his app was telling us it was there. He said that he has seen and heard, had strange voices or heard sounds in the church. And he also says that on rare occasions, or maybe not so rare, he will actually get a whiff of flowers, of some kind of floral scent, just out of nowhere, just in this particular spot. And it happens, he said it's happened to him multiple times. And he said that's one of the common things that people still say they experience in the church. So unfortunately, I wasn't able to go in there and check it out. But if, hopefully someday I'll get a chance to go in there and get some pictures or some video. I'll put the location down below if you want to go check it out. Actually, I'll put it on the screen for you right now if you want to go and check out this location. But again, you can't go inside the actual church. You can only drive by it. But if you come by the church on Saturdays, Saturday afternoon, you can go into the old museum, and that actually is still worth a look. It's still an old building, and they have some incredible old furniture and artifacts on display, so it would still be worth a look for you. Also, for those of you who are into your ghost hunting, I would like to recommend an app to you. It's an app called The Plan. It's a Windows app for your laptop that is specifically designed for ghost hunting, for keeping track of your EVPs, your video files, photographs, keeping track of group activities, organizing everything. Again, it was designed by a ghost hunter, and it's only $19.95 with a 60-day money-back guarantee. So if you're looking for something to take your ghost hunting to the next level, I suggest The Plan. There's a link down in the description, and buying that app will definitely help our channel. So again, thank you so much for joining us on Haunted Highways, and I will see you again soon.